Welcome back to Man Cave Movie Night.
Who?
I'm Jared.
I'm Niall.
I'm Lucas.
And just like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles recasted their 4 leads to be actual teenagers, we've been recast to be actual men. Yeah!
That's right. This podcast is finally living up to its name, now that I, John Cena, am playing the role of Bile/Niall.
And I'm Jason Statham. No, I'm
And I'm
Jason
Vin Diesel.
Statham.
Jason Statham.
I've been Vin Diesel the whole time, but I'm finally coming clean about being Vin Diesel.
And we're just regular guys. We love guy things, right, boys? I mean, guys.
Yeah, like
That's
men.
right.
like
We're
a
men.
beer, like hanging out in the man cave drinking a beer.
Camp chairs.
I love barbecuing.
I guess
perfect
camping
steak.
in general.
Football,
fishing.
hockey, sports.
But not
Very
like, yeah,
fast
like man
cars.
fishing, yeah.
More. I didn't break my arm and leg trying to do a dunk.
Jacked guys.
Jack, strong, in shape men.
I like women. I like admiring how strong men are and how attractive women are because I'm a man.
Those are the main things about them. I also, a thing that I actually have taken an interest in is marine biology.
No, not allowed. That's not manly enough.
Dude,
Sharks
Niall,
is manly.
Bile.
Though. Say
Shark Week.
Shark
Shark Week, yeah,
shark.
dude, yeah, that's
Okay,
man.
Shark Week is
Yeah,
what
I
I
like
like,
that.
and I like.
But not
I like
fi-
mowing my
fishing.
lawn,
Fishing
but I
is
also
cool.
like
fishing
tending
is-
my garden and planting
No,
flowers.
with
No, that's
garden I
not-
don't think you
I
can
don't
do.
think-
The lawn
but
you
lawn
can
Just the
mowing,
lawn
yeah.
thing. I like the lawn.
The
I've
lawn
got
is sick.
I've got a riding lawn
And you
mower.
The
pound
lawn
a-
is
you
sick.
pound
And
a
going
monster
over
while
the
you're doing
garden in the riding mower is
Yeah.
really cool
Yeah,
too.
that
love
is really
that.
cool.
Yeah, just-
yeah. I like reading books about romance,
About-
about
no.
people
About
who
World
love
War
each other.
II?
I think
World War
misheard
II.
you.
Yeah, that's
War-
what I meant.
yeah,
World War
yeah,
II.
I
that's
love
a man
war
thing.
Exactly.
books. I love reading books
Exactly.
about war, where men die. And then
Yeah.
Yeah, sick. You know what else I love? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's right. See it in theaters.
In theaters now.
Oh.
Welcome back to Man Cave Movie Night.
Hey guys.
I feel like I'm doing a high voice now, but I'm just doing my
I know,
voice,
Just do my regular voice, which
Actual
has
voice.
always been high.
which has always been shrill
Yeah.
and
Just wait until we laugh. All of us have high and weird laughs.
No, they're all good.
That's how I'm gonna laugh from now on the show. By the way.
I bet you will
Honestly-
forget about that in like 30 seconds.
nobody will notice a difference.
Yeah. To them, they're like,
Cause see
"Is
that?
this a
See
joke?
that?
This just sounds normal."
Is there anything different?
Yeah, when we laugh and look at the audio back on the recording, you just see spikes of little high spikes.
Bad.
It's really awesome.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about our laughs. No. We're here to talk about some teenagers who are mutants. And also,
What else?
they're ninjas. I'll tell you one more thing about them. They're
Name
turtles.
one. Oh,
Turtles.
Yep.
very interesting.
How is that allowed?
I don't know, but that's the right order to say it because you start with turtles and you get the wrong picture.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
You
true.
start with teenager, you're starting off right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you have a general range, and then it can be formed into the correct image that is these
Yeah.
4 cute boys. Good boys, I meant.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks for the
Men,
correction.
they're men.
So specifically, we're talking about Mutant Mayhem, the new animated movie that came out in August of 2023.
That's
Or-
right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I just now walked out of the theater, so it's very fresh on my mind,
That's perfect.
Yeah.
and I'm pretty excited to talk about it. Just quick review. First of all, everyone's favorite game for longtime listeners of the podcast. Did the movie make me cry? And the answer is yes.
It
the first,
did?
10
What?
to 15 minutes. Listen.
Was it when Giancarlo Esposito's character is?
No, that
That's what
was
I
also
said.
Jared's guess. But no, I didn't care about that really at all.
Yeah,
What
I
I
was
did care
Yeah.
about was a scene where, and this is, I would say, very minor spoilers, because it's in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie, but I already have kind of an emotional attachment to the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and it like means a lot to me. And the scene where they're leaving from watching that, and like Leonardo is holding the sewer open, but all of them are just like looking at the screen, and they all just look so sad. Like, this is just a thing that we want so bad and we can't have it. And then they finally go into the sewer. I was just like, oh, like, it got me. And I wasn't like bawling like anime guy, tears launching out of my face.
We know you
but
were.
I was teared up. I had to wipe something away, you know.
Aww.
And it's a tear.
That's
is
precious.
the thing
That was a very precious moment, but I don't think it's very manly that you cried in a movie, Niall.
Well, we're not men anymore.
Oh, we're not men anymore. You're right. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
I wouldn't have said that in the intro. Are you kidding me?
We're the boys again, as we always have been and always will be.
Yeah. Lucas, did you cry?
Yeah, I was sitting right next to you. Remember how I was crying?
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring
Like
it
the
up
Seth
because
Rogen
there
part
was some
where he was introducing
waterworks.
Yeah, when Seth Rogen appeared on screen as himself, I started bawling out of anger
talked about how this is
frustration.
what he
Thanks guys
loves
for
to
watching the
do.
show.
Yeah, that actually was so annoying. I hate when movies are doing that now.
I hate when they do that. And when he comes in and he's like, this is my favorite thing to do. And it's like, really? I'm so glad that Seth Rogen told me that his favorite thing to do is make movies. Like, I know, dude. Just play the movie.
We get it.
now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I will say one thing I really liked about this movie, kind of that we were talking about earlier with naming the 4 individual words in the title, is that they actually do all 4. They are teenagers. They're played by teenage voice actors. They are mutants. That's like the whole thing in the movie is the mutant part of it. They are ninjas. They show some cool training montages and they have all the cool weapons, and they're turtles. They always get the turtles right no matter how many times they do this. But sometimes the other 3 are open to interpretation because the live action Michael Bay one, there is no way you're telling me those guys were teenagers because
they are grown
they
men.
look 40.
Same as that one from like 2006 or whatever, the animated one, TMNT.
Oh, TMNT.
They
yeah.
are grown men.
Yeah, they
Raphael
totally are.
sounds like a 40-year-old that just got out of prison. Like, he sounds like he has lived an entire life already.
Well, I think that one is kind of a spiritual successor to the live action trilogy of the 90s.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, kind of like how Superman Returns was a little bit of a sequel to the Christopher Reeves ones, but not.
But like, call it
technically.
MNT then.
Yeah.
Mutant Ninja
I mean, you
Turtles.
can't. Yeah, I don't know. I remember seeing that one in theaters and liking it, the other animated one, but it's kind of crazy that it's been 16 years since we've gotten an animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in theaters. So that was cool to kind of have that again.
Yeah.
And they're making another one.
Well,
You guys know because you've seen it. They're making a sequel. It was already announced, and they're making a TV show of it. So that'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
okay.
It's has it
I
been a
guess we'll
while
talk
since
more
like
reviews.
those kind of things? Because I know like pretty much every DreamWorks was made into a TV show at some point.
A Netflix.
Yeah.
TV
I
show.
guess was Boss Baby made into a TV show? That's like
It
the
was.
one
Yep,
I
on
care about the
Netflix.
most.
Yep.
Yeah, see? Okay.
Yep.
So this is an
Boss
ongoing
Baby
trend.
2,
That's
it
not
kind of explores his treading into the underworld, what led to those critical
Those final
final
moments.
events. Of,
It's a little bit of a
yeah.
mid-quel, and then it kind of follows
Exactly.
up. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
shows kind of the shady dealings. It kind of explains that shadow organization that he was running.
And then
in a
shows
Better
where
Call
it
Saul
goes
way. You
from-
can see some of the events of the movies taking place, but
Exactly.
you know,
From
kind of
a
the
different
rough timeline.
perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty sick.
interesting. I haven't checked that one out yet, but I will be sure to do so very
Yeah.
soon.
And I think the Boss Baby was voiced by a guy who hasn't shot a person. So.
Not yet, or
Not
that
yet.
we know of.
Not yet. Or that we know of so far.
Isn't it wild how Alec Baldwin hasn't been in anything since then?
Yeah, it's weird, dude.
It's so weird. I thought that would help
Just
his
going
PR.
method, man. Yeah. But yeah,
so
what did you guys think of this movie? I liked the whole thing.
Yeah,
I'll also-
go, Jared. I already spoke on some of it, but
yeah, general thoughts for me is I just thought it was a fun time. There were some things I wish they would have done more with, and some things that I didn't like really connect with. And I don't care about spoiling this movie. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think there's really much.
Yeah, we'll just go
to
for
spoil.
it.
Yeah, we can just spoil
If
it.
you, like,
So if you care
if there
about
was
getting that
something
spoiled-
big in this
To
movie,
spoil, yeah.
yeah.
I
Like,
would also imagine that if you're listening to this episode, you've seen it. So,
or you're probably not gonna see it.
or you don't care.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just listen to us. We'll talk good and bad about it, and if you're interested, yeah, go check it out.
And the
But-
post-credit scene is exactly what you think it is. It teases
Yep.
Shredder in the next one because he's not in this at all until then. But I guess he already exists, so that'll
Yeah,
be
it was
an
interesting.
thing
He's like
to-
a mercenary, it
yeah,
sounds like.
which is a little bit weird, but we'll see.
You know I love me some Shredder, though.
Me too.
Yeah, the main thing I didn't love is just how they utilize the mutants. I mean, they
The other ones.
yeah, like Superfly, bad guy. Other
Yeah.
people, they have like maybe one fight, kind of with Bebop and Rocksteady, where
Yeah.
it's like really just a car chase. Which, guys, we need to cool it with all the car chases and everything.
Yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
like
Oh man.
5 this summer.
It's been a car chasey year for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of just wish there was more fighting. Like they have a cool fight scene early on where it's like their first fight with people. And then I wish I could have seen them maybe get smacked around by some mutants. So then when they triumph in the end, it means more. But that's a nitpick, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just something I wish I would have been more of.
But
I think
I totally agree. The one thing I wished I would have seen more, and they definitely they capitalized on the ninja part of the name, but having just one more fight that was a ninja fight,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they had the first one in the car garage
yeah.
place that was so cool.
Yeah. Oh,
I
it was
loved
awesome.
it. And then they had the fight at the end, which was really cool, and the kind of Spider-Man 1 vibe of like the city banding together to help the fight or whatever.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
did like
sick.
that.
But I would have exactly what Jared's saying. Just in that parking lot, instead of a car chase, just let them get in a fight with Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
just really fight them. Yeah.
I want one to
I
punch
thought it was
him
kind of
so hard
interesting
they like
that
fly through a wall.
Yeah. See, I like Rocksteady and Bebop a lot, so I thought it was really fun they were included. But I was a little bit like, I don't love when they kind of went to the good guy side of things because I like them more as kind of antagonistic roles. So I hope in the
too.
next one or in the show or whatever they go over to the bad guy side again and get swayed
True.
away from that.
Yeah. But overall, I thought that it was interesting. The theme was... it felt much less about their fighting and more about, their kind of journey towards acceptance and things like that, which I thought was interesting. It was a cool thing for them to focus on.
Yeah, totally.
And in terms of that, I feel like they delivered. And the final fight, while not necessarily being like a stellar fight necessarily, it was cool and there was cool stuff that they did in it, but it definitely felt more like kind of character development moments rather than super cool fighty action stuff, which is cool and good, but also I want to see more cool fighty stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. I totally agree.
Other thing I want to shout out just real quick, in my opinion, and I've seen some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies in my day, this is the first one that truly honors Donatello, who is my favorite Ninja Turtle. They made him awesome in this one.
Yeah,
and I was so happy about that.
I think they found a really cool balance between the four of them, and they were all. I mean, Leonardo's the main character. He's kind of the leader, and he always has been. And I think they did a really good job of balancing having all four of them with cool character development, and you see them use their weapons. And I liked with Donatello him talking about his stick and how it's a pretty silly thing for him to have, considering that Leo has two swords and the size and everything. But my biggest qualm with this is the final fight scene and just the second half, because it's just so generic. I felt like the first half was super unique and super fun. Like the animation is great the whole time. Obviously, it's really
and the intercutting with like live action, like in the training sequence, where it's showing all of the training videos that they watched. I thought that was so awesome.
I really really like that. It just felt like the second half they're like, well, I guess we just have to do a final villain fight. And it's got to be a big old monster, so it's got to be tough for them to fight off, and they got to get their friends to come help. And I was like, I've seen this a million times before, and so I get why they did it, but I liked just the Superfly, like, mercenary kind of side of things.
Me too.
Before it was like, oh, hey, actually I'm trying to get big old gooey and fight off people. Then it's like, okay.
Yeah, like Crime Lord Superfly.
Yeah, exactly. That was really cool and kind of
and
unique.
it even like in their first meeting with Superfly, it already felt like, oh, these dudes are out of their depth. They're not going to be able to win this fight. And so it's like the fact that they went like super giant mutoid monster was a little bit like, dude, Superfly was already scary.
Yeah,
like,
it was already good enough.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that.
know.
You'll notice there's like 20 writers credited in the credits for this, so I'm wondering, how many rewrites and stuff this went through.
Yeah, that's a rewrite.
Maybe they just
for sure
included all the TikToks they quoted and that kind of stuff as writers.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
I did.
Maybe so.
It was very interesting how like modern it was in that regard. Like it was very topical, and like there was even an Endgame reference, which I thought was very surprising.
I was like, that's pretty soon.
Yeah,
like
pretty soon. And
but then also that made them feel so real that they were like, they mentioned that, but then also Michelangelo's like, and Mark Ruffalo improvised that line. And just like quick references like that, or just like that feels more, that makes it feel more real. Yeah, because that's how teenagers talk about movies. They that's how we talk about movies. We want to flex our little knowledge of little things like that. It's almost like that reference felt a little shoehorned because Mikey had that fact and he almost wanted to just shoehorn it into the conversation, you know?
Yeah. But it felt natural in that. Like I liked it a lot. I thought it was fun. And so I think it did a very good job of being a modern interpretation of the characters as well, because they totally are modern teenagers. Like they all have phones, but they're still legitimately interesting characters as well. It's not just like little punk teenagers that you don't care about or want to ever interact with, and you pray as you walk around that you will never run into them because they're just the worst thing ever. But
they did a Super Mario Bros. Thing that annoyed me in both movies.
What was it?
Which was
No Sleep Till
the
Brooklyn?
catchphrase.
Put them in New York,
No, the catchphrase is said in slow motion. In Mario, it happened like twice that he said "Mamma Mia," and both times they were in slow motion.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Mamma Mia. And then with this one, they did the same thing with Mikey saying "Cowabunga," and I'm like, no, I want to hear him say it. Like, don't do that dumb thing where it's like, oh, we're making it a moment. And also by doing this, it sounds less cheesy. It's like, it's Ninja Turtles. It's okay if it's cheesy.
Yeah, that's
like,
kind of the whole point.
Just let him say
cheesy.
the
extra most
the
best.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Pizza.
I have a discussion question.
Let's hear it.
This is
Can
gonna
I
take
add
us-
one more
Oh,
gripe
yes.
before I
Yeah,
go?
yeah.
Because I thought about this as well. In the very beginning, like first scene of the movie, they say, "This is our gun that demutinizes things."
Oh yeah.
And that does not come up until it is in the last scene, basically, of the movie. You know, like the final fight. And it's like, oh, now we can use those guns. It would have been cool to see at least one mutant become demutinized. Or something like that.
On the fly.
Other than just it coming up at the very end. That's my one thing.
Yeah.
I get, there's so many other things going on, but I would have just liked to have that be a little bit more of a reminder and see it in action before it's used
For sure.
by the heroes.
That's understandable.
I think if I had to guess, the reason they did not bring it in is because they didn't want to have to figure out a way to write one of the Turtles or Splinter or someone getting demutinized and then figuring out how to remutinize them, because you can't leave them.
But even just like hit one of the other mutants.
Yeah, I mean,
with
they
it.
threw
you could
us
hit,
with
like
10. Yeah, exactly.
10 disposable mutants, basically.
The one other thing with the
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd gecko.
Freaking Paul Rudd. Which, by the way, I didn't know that was him. And as soon as he started talking, I was like, well, I know who that is, but I can't place it. And there was a certain point where I was like, it's Paul Rudd. That's Paul Rudd for sure.
The other ones, I don't know if you guys have watched the What We Do in the Shadows TV show at all. One of the other ones is voiced by one of the ladies in that. But with the whole demutinizing thing, I thought it was interesting in the post-credit scene as well. They have Superfly still, just in a little jar. I thought it was like a weird. I mean, like not weird, but I wouldn't have expected them to maybe continue with that character. Not that he like died or anything, but
right.
I wonder if they're gonna do more stuff with that, or if it'll just be like, oh yeah, now it's Shredder. So we're moving on from this.
Yeah. Who's to say? I'm
see.
perfectly happy if it's just Shredder.
Yeah.
You know?
I love Shredder, and but I like Superfly too. It was cool to not do Shredder this time.
Okay, here's my question. This is going to take us a little bit away from Ninja Turtles for a bit.
That's okay.
But for me personally, Ninja Turtles is one of those things where, like, as soon as this movie was even announced before there was a trailer, I was like, rock on. Let's do this.
Me too.
Like, I'm stoked about it. Just because I like the vibe of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Me too.
I like the general concept. But also, I feel like they haven't really truly been done any justice until this movie. Like, I feel like this movie is where they really were like, okay, it's a fun concept, but also, like, this movie is good, you know?
Yeah.
And so, basically, like, I get hyped thinking about Transformers, obviously, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I was just going to ask, like, what is a franchise like that for you that you feel like that isn't like actively going right now, that you feel like if something got announced, you would just immediately be like, you would be erring to the side of excited and want to see what they do with it. This is also spur of the moment. We do not have
any prepared
questions. So if you don't have anything right now, that's fine.
Let me give Jared some time to answer by rebuting one of the things you said, because that live action 90s Turtles movie, that first one, is bomb. It is so good.
Well, I love it, but it's not good.
It is good, and you're allowed, and I love it. I think it is good, and I love it, and you love it, and it is good. And so I haven't rewatched it for a while, to be fair. However, I have nothing but fond memories, and I feel like if I do rewatch it, it'll be like a National Treasure type rewatch where I'm like, yo, this is actually awesome, just like I remember. But it's almost like kind of corny enough that I don't want to rewatch it just in case.
We should rewatch it together. That would be fun because it's been a long time for me as well. So I am making a snap judgment that it's not very good, but I do also only have positive memories of it. So, dude, let's freaking do it. Let's get together sometime and watch Ninja Turtles.
And Jared isn't invited because he doesn't like live action movies that have words. He only likes non-word movies that are live action or animated movies, and sometimes they're allowed to have words.
Well, live action movies that are silent films are cool.
Yeah. But
freaking.
Anyway, animation is cinema, like Guillermo says.
I have an answer.
Okay,
go for it.
Unless
you guys
Jared,
are still looking for one. My answer is, and this is still this is fresh on my mind because I watched one of these movies last night. I was feeling a little sicky, and so I popped one of these movies on, and it was great. I watched Godzilla 2014, and man, I just loved the whole thing.
Had you never seen it?
No, well, I've seen it before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Still, just got me so hyped when he grabs the Muto and pulls its mouth open and then
blasts
into his mouth. So cool. It's way too hype, dude. But that is one of those things where anytime I hear that there is a Godzilla thing happening, I'm just amped out of my mind. And sometimes it's great, like Godzilla 2014, and sometimes it's terrible, like Godzilla King of the Monsters. But even the terrible ventures, I still like this new one that got announced, Godzilla -1, that's being made by Toho again. That's back in the World War II era. It's kind of going back to the roots of the concept of Godzilla. I hear about that. I don't even need to see a trailer to tell you pretty confidently that it's like one of my most anticipated movies. I'm just like,
Does it come out this year?
I cannot wait. I think it's this year. It might be sometime next year though.
Is it
But I'm not even saying. No, live action.
Live action. Cool. Did
And
you?
the Godzilla design is bonkers. He looks crazy. I'm so excited.
I do
It's
like a
gonna
good
be cool.
Godzilla, but I've been burned by these recent iterations of.
Don't you tell me that you didn't like Kong vs. Godzilla.
I thought it was fun, but I was going to say the one that you hate that we watched together, the Gods and Monsters or whatever it's called.
Pretty bad. Yeah. King of the Monsters.
King of the
Gods
Monsters.
and Monsters is the phase 1 of the new DC
Oh, that's
universe.
yeah, okay. I do have an answer. Jared, you can go first though if you have one as well.
Sure. I mean, this is just properties that we would get excited about regardless. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Movies. Okay. For some reason, I had it in my mind of movies that haven't really fulfilled the promise of the source material. You know what I mean?
That's a good question
Right.
too.
Which is also a good question.
Yeah, we can do that next.
And so that was a really hard one for me to come up with. My answer is Spider-Man. I think
Nice.
in any form, like, and not just, I hate to do a superhero or like one of the big Disney properties. but,
whatever, yeah.
even beyond superheroes, like, truly, I'm pretty burnt out of all superhero content.
How dare you? How dare you?
Except for Invincible and The Boys. But Spider-Man, if they announced, like a video game, I don't have a PlayStation, but I'm going to go watch a bunch of videos about the game because I love Spider-Man.
Dude, I'm so excited for that game.
If there's an animated show that's coming out, like I want to watch it, or I want to at least check it out, just because he's like one of the most relatable and best superheroes I think out there. And I just have always vibed with the stories. So I think I just get excited for anything like that.
I think also it says something that he's kind of transcended the superhero fatigue. Because I think, like, I'm one of those people who I just like superheroes. Like, anything
the
Marvel,
idea, yeah.
I'm just like, it used to be like, oh, a superhero that I know nothing about is getting a movie? Right on.
Cool.
I'm stoked
Yeah.
about that. But the superhero fatigue has even, like, settled in pretty hard on me of just, like, I don't care anymore. Like, make it good or don't make it. But truly, like, if they were to announce the next Tom Holland Spider-Man, I'm like, okay, but I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
Because
they've been good.
really done a good job with Spider-Man, and they left him off in a really interesting position to kind of take up a more traditional Spider-Man trajectory. And so it's like, yeah, I think that's a great answer. I think if you were to say Marvel, that's like lame.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man specifically is a very solid answer.
Yeah,
Or Venom.
Of course.
Venom is a
Venom, but
given.
only because of how well Sony knocked out of the park with those movies.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't care at all about the character. But
No, yeah, those movies really garnered the interest for me.
yeah.
Or the
We
character
already-
of Tom Hardy.
Oh yeah,
Anytime
Yeah.
a Tom Hardy character shows up, I like
so good,
So good and funny.
I'm just so glad.
funny
We
and
only have to wait
quirky.
until July of next year for Venom 3. I'm so
I
excited.
can't wait. We should go to a night of
A night
all
of-
three
Yeah,
us.
we
crack
should.
some zos.
All three
Do
of
I
us.
need to watch Venom 1 and 2 before that?
Well,
or-
that's what I was going to
Almost
suggest.
definitely not.
All three of
Okay.
us can watch all 3 Venom movies together. We can do a triple
oh,
feature.
fun.
Venom
Would be
1,
great.
2,
well,
and then go
it'll
to the
probably be
theater to
easy
watch three.
because they'll send 1 and 2 to IMAX in the weeks leading
Yeah,
up
yeah, yeah.
to
They
the
know.
third one.
True.
They'll
It's a huge
just
release,
combine them
so.
as a double feature, so you can only watch them together, which is the proper way to watch them
Yeah.
as one unit. Just because
Well, I
they
remember
know the
leaving from the
anticipation.
first one and thinking, "Man, that was good, but it feels incomplete. I can't wait for the second one."
That's
Yeah.
how
well,
I felt after
you,
the second
you
one.
thought
actually.
second and third one.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You
After
knew
the
it had
first
to
one,
be
you're like,
at least
wow,
a
there
trilogy.
better be at least 2 more.
There better be at least 2 more.
I can't believe that this is real. This is just actually a movie series and trilogy that is going to shortly exist, and 2 of the
Yeah.
3 already do exist. But my answer is also a superhero thing, but it is X-Men. Just, I've always loved the X-Men, even though there are so many crappy iterations of them in the movies. There are a lot of cool TV shows that integrate the X-Men really well, animated wise.
Oh, yeah,
all
dude.
those, and like the Wolverine and the X-Men, X-Men Evolution, the '90s X-Men show.
Do the X-Men come into Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes at any point? I feel like there's an arc where they show up for a bit, right?
Wolverine and Deadpool do. I don't know about the rest of the X-Men. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't ever remember
think,
them.
I think
Because
they
that's my
don't
favorite animated series of
of
superheroes.
superhero stuff. Yeah,
That show rocks.
I think they don't, just because at that point Fox still owned X-Men,
Gotcha.
and they
That
didn't
makes sense.
have any sort of promotional material for any X-Men stuff because they didn't want to be marketing X-Men for them if they didn't own them, which was a terrible dark time in our lives. But now that Disney owns the X-Men movie rights again, we're getting a lot more merchandise, and we're getting an X-Men new TV show, animated TV show. And so even the older stuff where it was like, oh man, X-Men Dark Phoenix, I'm sure that will not be very good. However, still gonna watch it because love these freaking I just love the characters.
Apocalypse was so good.
Yeah, because Apocalypse was so good. Dark Phoenix must
I
be
liked
good.
Apocalypse. I only saw it once in theaters, so I guess I didn't love it, but I liked it.
Sure.
Like,
That's the thing is like they'll just tease you with a really good one, like Days of Future Past, and you're like, oh yeah, let's
Even
go.
First Class is
So-
great.
Oh, First Class is amazing.
Yeah.
I love First Class.
which, by the way, did we tell the Days of Future Past story on the podcast? Because I feel like that's something that's worth putting in here
I don't
Oof.
think we have
with
I don't think we
trivia.
did. Yeah, do we want to save that for post?
Yeah, we can do it for a post credits thing.
But yeah, X-Men, I love having X-Men like posters. I literally have some behind me. If you're watching, I have X-Men, shirts and action figures and everything. They just get me excited. I don't know what it is. Just whenever there's any sort of
Body pillows.
X-Men. Well, I mean, I thought I told you to keep that a secret, but I don't actually. I don't have that. I don't have that.
He does.
I don't have
He
that.
He
He
does.
has
It's
a
weird.
Yeah, I don't have that.
And it's like of Nightcrawler too. Like it's not like what you would expect.
I don't have that.
He doesn't have
actually.
one of Rogue.
Yeah, I actually
he doesn't have
don't
one of
that.
Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't
no
have that.
Jean Grey.
He has one of Nightcrawler, and he has one of the film version of Toad from the first one.
Yeah.
It's just Ray Park.
You little
It's not
creep.
even Toad. It's just out of costume Ray Park. But yeah, X-Men have always been my favorite, group of superheroes and franchise, and so
Yeah.
I just hope to have them done more justice going forward. And honestly, we've already talked a little bit about this, but that Wolverine picture from Deadpool 3 just makes me
Yep.
giddy with glee.
Gets you
so
right on the
excited.
hype train.
It gets me right on
It's
the hype
awesome.
train. That is exactly what I want.
Do you think? Okay, this is one quick side question, then back to Ninja Turtles. Do you think? Because you brought up the X-Men TV show. Do you think that there is any connection with Deadpool 3 and the new X-Men animated series?
I highly doubt it, because what I think
Because there's been rumors that it's like, oh, it's going to be like that X-Men team actually that like comes into live action.
that would
Well, are
be
they doing
wild.
a multiverse kind of thing as well? Is that the idea or no?
Well,
Deadpool
Deadpool
3,
3,
I
it sounds like it's going to be what people thought Multiverse of Madness was going to be. Like, it's going to
Okay.
be crazy multiverse stuff. So that's why I asked, because I feel like maybe
happen.
that's the way they bring in the X-Men. They're just like, okay, and we're taking you from the animated show, and now you are
now you are in this universe.
in live action.
My only reasoning for not thinking that the X-Men... I think the X-Men and Deadpool are going to be the Fox X-Men universe, or some
Gotcha.
variation of them. And then the animated, I do think they'll bring the animated into live action in the MCU, but
Gotcha.
they'll be separate. Like, they'll be...
Does that mean that we're going to have to deal with Jubilee?
I don't know.
Because I hate Jubilee. Anyway, let's move away from X-Men.
Yeah, anyway,
Let's talk
Teenage
about
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
again.
My question regarding the Ninja Turtles, like, I really liked this take. Obviously, we've been talking about Mutant Mayhem. I thought it was great. What do you want to see them do with the next one that maybe you didn't quite get scratched with this one? Or, like, with bringing Shredder in, how do you think they can do that in a unique or cool way? Like, what do you want to see more going forward with this after Mutant Mayhem?
I know how I want the movie to start.
Let's hear it.
I want the movie to start with basically a montage of them just taking out petty criminals.
Oh, like a sort of like a bridging the gap between the two movies type thing.
Yeah,
where it's
just
like,
showing
this
like,
is what we've been
okay,
up to.
now we are in Michael Bay terms out of the shadows, and like we're just kind of holding these streets down. So just have them like parked outside of a pizza shop eating or something, and then like a guy steals a lady's purse, and they go and just beat the crap out of him, and that or like just like little stuff like that. Maybe even go pretty like Spider-Man 2 with it, and like they have a police scanner and they're just like hanging out in the sewers eating pizza, and they hear something and they're like, do you want to take this one? And Donatello's like, sure, and he pops up and goes running off and beats someone up or something. But just like kind of a sequence of them just fighting crime with like not really any stakes, but just showing them like, yeah, we're using all of our ninja stuff and doing what we want to be doing, you know, intercut it with them going to school and things like that. It could be super fun.
Yeah.
Just to like, I just want to see them having fun being the Ninja Turtles, you know?
Now that they are no longer having
Like
to hide
as
much
an
in the shadows.
occupation. Cause like you see them having fun together, but the best fight in the movie in the garage, they're kind of like freaked out and they're scared and it's like their
they're a little
first
bit
time doing it.
apprehensive, yeah.
I want to see them in their, you know, in their Spider-Man era of just having a good time fighting crime, you know,
Well,
before any stakes are introduced.
yeah, with going forward from that, introduce that, and then my guess is they will take this route, which a lot of sequels in this kind of superhero or vigilante kind of movie tropes, as far as that goes, this sequel seems appropriate. I want them to surprise me, but my guess is they're again fighting crime, but there are responsibilities at school or other things, right? Donatello's like, well, like, you know, this charter
AV
school, like I
club.
could test into, or AV club, or Leo could be going for prom king, and you know, things like that, where if not all the members of the group have something, at least one does that's pulling them away. My guess is everyone will have something. Maybe Leo's the one who's like, no, guys, we got to focus up. Like, we came out to be heroes, not to, I mean, whatever. I don't know. But have that conflict of responsibility where do they, now that they have a social life and a school life, when that conflicts with their mutant life, how do they find a balance? Like, I think that could still be a great story. It seems pretty on the nose for what sequels do, and so it would not surprise me if that is the direction.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But if they're like, yeah, this Shredder guy's a big deal, we've got to stop him, but his plan is the same day as prom.
It's like
I'm running for student body president. Or,
very Tom Holland.
I feel like
Homecoming.
totally.
this is...
There really is
If
a lot
the-
of Spider-Man influence with these, like, or similarities.
Yeah.
If there were... if it were allowed to be darker, I feel like it could be really cool to have a sequence where, like, they're in school and Shredder shows up, like, at the high school and starts just, like, basically, like, being a terrorist at the high school, trying to draw them out. And then it, like... they wouldn't do it.
Well, they could,
but
they
think
could
about,
do that
like...
in a way. They could do it with, like, the hand ninjas or whatever they're called.
The Foot Clan.
The Foot Clan, that's what it is.
Direct response to Daredevil.
Yeah.
But
Hand is Marvel.
they... I think that it would be interesting to see basically something happen almost at, like, comic Civil War level of, like, okay, well, now the public is divided on these turtles, and they kind of are driven back into the shadows, you know?
Oh, interesting.
So they had this life, and then it's taken away from them because they bring danger around them, you know? Like, that could be a pretty cool dynamic to play with, of like, you've given them this thing, now take it away from them, and what
see
are they
what they
left
do.
with, you know?
Yeah, I really do like the idea of the... I feel like this one is doing it more so than the other ones have, where they're just integrated into society. They haven't really done that in the past with Ninja Turtles. Even like the TMNT that's like, you know, far future Turtles, and they've been doing it for a while, they still have to be in hiding. And so I like the idea of like, oh yeah, they're just going to school like it's a normal thing. And so I think there's a lot of cool ideas they can play around with that. With it being dark, there certainly is a time in, you know, Turtles is kind of back and forth between being super dark. A lot of the comics are really dark. And they started as a comic series, actually. That's where it all originated, and then it got really popular from the animated TV show that was for kids. But there is a comic, like, short little run from a couple years ago called The Last Ronin, which is, there's only one of the turtles left. It's like set, I don't know how far in the future.
Raphael, right?
I don't know which one it is, but it's like a big
Pretty sure
deal.
it's Raphael.
Of which, it's like a spoiler, so don't spoil it. But I don't know. I don't know which one it is. I don't think it's Raphael though, because I think that's the one everyone would predict. And so maybe it is though, because I haven't read it. But
Sure.
They're making a video game of it, and I think that is a great idea for a video game, like a single player, because it's one of the turtles. They have all of the equipment of the other ones, like they have all the weapons, and they're just like really
Cool.
jaded.
Nice.
And
You're the avatar of the Ninja Turtles.
basically you're the last Ronin, and your brothers were all murdered by who knows, and you're the last one left, and you have to
By
fight
Bebop
off.
and Rocksteady.
Bebop. Can you imagine?
They're so cartoony that it's like it's hard
They do
to
not
feel
fit in
dramatic.
something like that. I wonder. Yeah, I'm not sure what the antagonist is of that, but that is a great idea for a game and just in general for like a darker take on the Ninja Turtles. Just one of them is left, and they have to become like the Ninja Turtle. So
For sure.
I think that's a cool idea. I don't think they'll do that with the movies at all, but
No, for sure. They're not going to kill a bunch of 15-year-old kids.
yeah, no way. This early on, especially, they just make one of the movies, and the next one is the last Ronin, and 3 of them are dead when the movie starts, and it's just like, oh, fun.
I could see them killing Splinter in the next one.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like has Splinter died? Like I don't know I feel like he must have at some point, right?
Like probably.
Maybe in the secret.
Or
of the
even
ooze.
worse, what if they demutanted him?
They just make him a regular rat, and then they eat him.
Yeah, like the cockroach.
Yeah, the turtles just eat Splinter.
Yeah, it was an interesting take. It was an interesting scene. I wouldn't have gone that way, but Seth Rogen, he's a professional screenwriter. I'm not, so
He loves
maybe
to
it's
do it
good.
as well.
They boil.
He loves
what
it.
he does.
It's his favorite
They
thing.
boil
to do.
him alive like a lobster and then crack him open and then suck his meat out.
Okay, so anyway, let's talk about anything else.
No, we have to let it stew and
I
sit
do
in
think
your brain.
I'm excited for Shredder just
I am very
because
excited for Shredder.
I think that it lends the movie to kind of remedy what Jared and I were missing, and probably Lucas, I think you agreed, just more ninja fighting.
Yeah, totally.
And
Totally.
having them just fight guy with swords, I think
Perfect.
is
the best way to bring in ninja stuff.
That's what I want.
I do think it would be cool if they were able to find some way to tie him into their past or something. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it could be cool if they watched some of his videos or something like that, so they kind of know who he is already. And because in the past, like he was like Splinter's owner, which I guess they still could do, and that's like kind of how Splinter was able to learn some of his karate stuff. At least that's how it is in the movies, the '90s movies. So I have a lot of hope for like a really cool like samurai Shredder who's an actual threat to them. So we'll see what they do though with it going forward. I'm very hopeful though after this one, because this one was just exactly what I would expect. People say like the Spider-Versification of things, but it really like it's unique in its own way. But I do feel like that movie opened the door for other animated movies to be more unique with their animation and their storytelling, and be confident that it'll be successful. So stuff like Puss in Boots and this are great examples of just really cool animated movies that use the medium well and tell stories that maybe wouldn't have been told otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I loved, just like with the animation thing, a lot of it felt a little more, kind of just steady and consistent than, say, Spider-Verse or something like that.
Yeah.
But then, like, there would be an explosion or smoke that just all looked like hand-drawn and like crayon, and you could kind of see the wax lines of it. And I was like, okay, no, that's sick. Just little things like that. I love that animation's getting cool.
I do too. It never has been until Spider-Verse was the
cool
first
before.
time animation was good.
First time the animation was cool
Actually
and good.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jared, do you have a question to discuss?
No,
If not, that's okay. All right. I feel we could do the
I
obligatory.
truly I just don't have much more to say about this movie.
Yeah.
We
could
feel
do
like
the
we've had a pretty good
obligatory-
conversation. Yeah.
What turtle are we?
Oh, of course, because there's
What turtle are each of us?
4 turtles and 4 of us. So
I
So
feel
Lucas
like
is
in
Splinter.
other contexts, in
wanna
other
choose
groups
to
of
hack him open
people,
and eat him
I have an
like a
answer for
lobster.
myself, and here I have a different answer for myself.
yeah, what's your answer here?
Generally, my answer in my life would be Donatello. However, of the three of us, Lucas is definitely Donatello.
No, I'm Leonardo. You're wrong.
No, Lucas is Mikey.
I wish I could be Leonardo, but I'll never be.
Exactly. That's the answer everyone wants to say, but it's never true. Everyone wishes they could be. I do.
I think I'm Raph.
Yeah, Jared is Raph. I think I'm
Because
Mikey.
I can see that.
Villain hothead who rages against the group.
Tears necks and boils spines.
That was another thing about the movie, by the way. They kept talking about Raph's rage, but I was like, he doesn't seem
He doesn't seem
No,
that
he's just
bad.
one of
like
the
I was
guys.
like, let him be a little bit of a hothead,
Yeah.
and he just wasn't.
I think they're
you know?
just assuming we know Raph is the hothead, and so
Right.
it's like we don't need to show. You know.
right.
But yeah, I think you could be Donatello. Why not?
You think?
Niall? Yeah.
Am I Donatello?
Sure.
And then you're Mikey.
And then I'm Mikey.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're always just saying some real.
Because I just spoke
out
about
of the world.
boiling up Splinter and eating him like a lobster.
Yeah.
It's pretty goofy. Just like Mikey's a
Yeah.
little goofy. And orange.
Okay,
also.
so-
Orange is my favorite color, unlike you two.
Orange is my favorite color.
Oh, orange is my favorite color.
Interesting.
I didn't think about
wonder-
that.
So we need a friend to join the podcast whose favorite color is blue, so that they can be our Leonardo.
Yeah, we don't have a Leonardo.
Also,
We just
if
have
this
the-
podcast had a Leonardo, I feel like the structure would work way better.
Yeah.
But it
If we just had
always
him-
just ends up chaos.
Man, it'd be cool if we got like an intern or something like that to help us with that
oh,
stuff.
that would be epic and cool.
Wouldn't that be epic and cool?
I think
Big things coming.
that's something
Local
we would
podcast
tease
post
in
to their
our
Instagram
in
story.
our actual post-credit scene. You know what I mean?
Oh, big
It's
time.
like
like
Calling
if there
the
was
intern.
like
the
a
silhouette of an intern coming
the
to help us
intern
out.
will return or will arrive.
Will arrive. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
walk out like it's a WWE walkout. There's a bunch of smoke and they're backlit, so it's just their silhouette.
Yeah. A new
Super
challenger
cool.
approaches
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
of deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a
Well,
vague
I don't
shot.
think we have anything else to say.
Yeah.
It seems
No.
like.
I think it was fun talking about
So-
Ninja Turtles though. I love these boys.
I
I
think
liked
so
it.
too. I had a good time.
Me too.
Excited for
Talking
more
about them Ninja
animated
Turtles.
movies going forward. And it also shows, again, I want to just talk about this. Pixar's most recent movie, and honestly the last couple, say for like Soul, I feel like have kind of just been
Nothing.
just the
Forgettable.
same.
I think I don't think they've been bad. I think people
Yeah.
like them, but there's been other stuff that's been more.
It's like, what are you doing, Pixar?
But I think maybe
Innovate.
we might be seeing, Pixar
Get replaced.
get replaced by these
Yeah.
new, innovative, and fun animation styles.
Yeah.
That
And-
are
yeah.
using the genre to tell cool stories.
And good, honestly. I love Pixar, but I think that people have just always been like, "Oh yeah, Pixar's the one. Pixar's the one." They're always winning the best like animated film Academy Award, and so it's great that now we have competition. Like last year, it was
Yeah.
freaking Pinocchio, and that was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio was awesome. Like it was stop motion.
Yeah.
And now this year, well, Puss in Boots was also last year, but this year we have Turtles and Spider-Verse, both I think better than Elemental, which to be fair I haven't seen. But there's a lot of I can just assume that I probably would like Elemental is the thing. Like
Sure.
it's not that I wouldn't like the newer Pixar stuff. I just haven't been
Just do something
super
new.
pushed to go watch it because I'm not like, oh man.
Well, that's
seems like
that's
such
the
a
thing.
cool-
Like
yeah.
Pixar used to be innovating with their stories and their story
And
structure
the animation though, because
Well,
3D
and-
animation,
the animation.
was so new.
Yeah, but like at a certain point, it became they're kind of starting to not even recycle, but you just kind of know what to expect
Yeah.
out of a Pixar movie. And other places have kind of decided, and I don't mean that the stories aren't good in these movies that are coming out because they're great, but they were kind of like, okay, how do we innovate in a different way? How do we innovate to make our animation stand out and feel different, and then also attach a really great story to that? And so it's kind of one of those things. I think Pixar kind of it would feel weird for the problem is it would feel weird for them to do anything different.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But if they were to kind of start pushing the boundaries on the way they approach their movies in all aspects, not just on a story level, I think it would kind of put them back in the game. But for right now, they're just
Or what
kind of fading into obscurity a little.
Yeah, almost. They're, well, not fading into obscurity, but I would say overshadowed. Because Mario also. Mario made, $1.5 billion this year. and Spider-Verse has made almost $1 billion, and those both came out this year. So it's like, and then now we have Turtles, which isn't like doing crazy financial numbers, but it's doing well critically, and so I don't know. It's just it's cool to see Disney have some legitimate competition starting to push them out, because Disney just has historically controlled way too big of a market share, and so it's nice to see these last few years they're beginning to almost like be a little bit lazy because they almost expect it, and then the other people kind of step up and say, okay, we're gonna do better and like kind of push you out and take a bigger chunk of this market. So it's been kind of cool to watch that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ninja Turtles.
That's all we had to say about
now we're done.
Ninja Turtles. Thanks so much, as always, for listening. If you want to support us, go check out our Patreon or our website at Man Cave Movie Night on both. .com.
.com. Website. You gotta say the .com. That's the most important part of any website to say.
Yes, sorry. mancavemovienight.com. We've got some exciting things on the horizon, so just stay tuned. I don't want to announce anything prematurely, so just keep an eye out.
Blue Beetle episode next week, maybe?
Maybe.
Oh no, I spoiled it. Oh no, that's our big announcement.
That was the big thing on the horizon. Is the Blue Beetle episode.
We're not doing a Blue Beetle episode. Don't worry. No. We'll give you an episode that you can actually listen to because it will be relevant or something you've seen.
Yeah.
Or are interested in at all.
Right. Niall, I was also going to ask, how's your mom doing?
Dude, my mom is doing so great, and you know what she told me the last time I talked to her?
What?
What'd she say?
She told me, Niall, I'm doing great. And the reason I'm doing great is because of all the shout outs that I've been getting from the Man Cave Movie Night Patreon subscribers. So, Mom, I love you. And the following people love you as well as they give you a shout out. Shout out to Kel from Michael Polonsick. Is that right?
Yeah.
Michael Polonsick, Easy Lob, Britton Inkley, Riley Allen, Ian James Martin, and Hannah Steed. Ooh. So, Mom,
thank you.
Shout out to you. If you, the listener, want to give a shout out to Mom and make shout out to Mom, shout out to Mom. Kel and help her do even better in this week to come. You can subscribe on our Patreon. Go to patreon.com.
Jared already said all that. He already said all that.
But wait. It's $3 a month, and for $3 a month, you can make my mom a happy person.
Oh. If you want to make us happy people, though,
for only $3 a month, you can sustain the happiness and positive lifestyle of Carolyn Thorley. Yeah, just keep riffing.
Carolyn is her full name. Are you serious?
Yeah, Carolyn Thorley.
Kel is a nickname?
Yeah, Kel's a nickname.
What?
Her older brother, my Uncle John. When she was born, shout out to Uncle John. When she was born, he had a hard time pronouncing her name, Carolyn, so he would call her Kel, and it stuck forever.
20 years later, she still goes by the same name.
20 years later,
she looks great for 29.
Now call her that,
dude. Yeah, she looks young for 29.
Yeah, she does.
All right. Well, cool. We will see
Thanks
you
for listening,
all
everyone.
On another episode, and we'll see our lovely Patreon subscribers in the post credits. Okay. I should have said that in a different order. We'll see everyone back on another episode of Man Cave Movie Night Monday.
And we'll see the rest of you in the Patreon post credits episode.
And also,
okay, bye.